The adult beverages are poured, the kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old.
So, to the audience, I hope you don't feel like we've cheated on you, but we occasionally, sometimes dads, need to stray, and we showed up on a different podcast. It's not you, it's us. And no, huge shout out to Perjangers and Wall Hangers with Matt and Chris. We had a fantastic time going on their show just this week. It was a bit of a marathon for us. We tend to like to have a tight dad 30 here. And
right.
This got more towards an hour and a half. But man, the energy and the topics these guys came up with, like we were on our toes the entire time. And like, what an awesome show to be a part of, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the energy level was high throughout the entire show. So I welcome anybody to come and listen to their show. It just wakes you up. There's a lot of conversation, a lot of comments, and a lot of stuff that's going on in the gaming world and the movie world. So it was good to be a part of it. So.
Yeah, and really, I think about our video production too. Really needs to go up a notch.
That's right.
The graphics they have on screen during the live recording is definitely worth seeing. So that is Perjangers and Wall Hangers. We'll leave a link in our show note descriptions if you want to check them out. They're on all the major podcast networks, Spotify, iTunes, all the good ones, as well as YouTube and their own website. So we'll link it up. And Matt and Chris, thank you so much for having us on. That was an absolute blast.
Yeah. Thanks again.
Yeah. So that was a excellent time. Another excellent time that happens for dads is when they participate in comfort games, which we discussed last week and got some great responses from the community. First one from a good friend of the show, This Dad's Platinum Journey, who you should definitely check out on Twitch as he tries to platinum some unbelievable games. It's been a crazy what he's been able to accomplish. But for him, he always seems to, his go-to comfort game when the world is tired and crazy, he doesn't want to think about anything, he goes to Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yes. Great game.
I can understand it on this back half of how I played it. At the beginning, I was doing it very actively. Like I was completely controlling all the motions. Right. And for the second half, I found it a lot more enjoyable actually just to let them attack, a la Final Fantasy 12, my comfort game.
Yep.
And just like kind of interject if I need to do like a cure or a particular mana spell or something like that. But Jeff, you find this to be a comfort game?
I find it like that warm and fuzzy feeling. It's got to be something about the world building, the music to it. Oh, it's just like my happy place being like 11, 12 years old again. So I totally get it.
Now coming out of left field, which is a wonderful dad pun, another friend of the show, a gamer looks at 40, comes out with ready for a strange comfort food game? Ken Griffey presents Major League Baseball for the SNES.
Yeah.
You have familiarity with this?
Yes, I do. And yes, it totally a strange comfort game. But I remember renting this game all the time. And if anybody's viewing the video of Ken Griffey, it's just like these jacked baseball players, right? And the game was just so fun. You could pick up and play. There's nothing like, it wasn't too strategic. You just go up, hit the ball, like run around, and it was just funny to look at. So I totally get it. That's an awesome one. I totally did not think of it.
It looks like a Flash game before its time. Like the way that the way that the character models, like again, like we're trying to describe it on an audio podcast, but this is like if you've ever played QWOP, where this is a game where it's each key of your keyboard controls a different part of the body and they're flapping around. It's kind of what these jacked up baseball players look like, because every joint's off. Am I wrong?
Oh no, every joint's off. They're like drawn the wrong way. I think they spent a lot of money on the license for Ken Griffey Jr. to be on the front of this thing in his prime. So maybe that's where the budget went.
Just like the guy currently at bat that we're watching just blew a bubble, like from his chewing
Special
baseball.
effects.
Yeah, just like the what they spent time on in this game is really fascinating. But
yeah.
It was cool. I had no reference for it, but to hear it's actually a bit of a comfort for you as well is wild.
It's the Super Nintendo era. It was all these kind of games, right? And it was, again, happy place. When the world was different, less stressful.
People just throwing stuff on the wall. It's like, yeah, whatever. We can do a baseball game.
That's right. Just give it.
Now, a larger story from this week, and I had, I was embarrassed, but I admitted it on Twitter because we're all going through This Is Dads together.
That's right.
I'm in meetings, and all of us during the day, kids had arrived home. My wife had to get a couple things going, so she puts them onto the Switch while finishing up some chores, getting dinner ready, all the good stuff. I'm in meetings, as I mentioned, and all of a sudden these emails start streaming in. First one says, "Oh, hey, it's Nintendo. Would you? We got your request to change your password. Just click here and do this." I'm looking at it. Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's a bit odd. I don't know if maybe the kids click something or someone's trying to hack me. This is no good, but okay, not a big deal. I'm not going to touch it. Next email. Hey, congratulations on your purchase. You've just purchased The Incredibles 2 Lego. Very very good. It's just I was like, now I am locked in a meeting. I can't leave. So I'm just like, oh, okay. That's a little off. No, that was like $12. Next one comes in. Hey, congratulations on your purchase. You just bought Plants vs. Zombie Battle for Neighborville for $68. Congratulations.
Oh, no. I was like, you're earning a lot of gold coins.
Oh, I'm like, oh my. Like we own, and now you might be thinking, okay, maybe you got hacked or maybe something else has happened. Except at the same time I'm reading it, I'm hearing these two kids of mine screaming and laughing like, haha, I killed that plant. Hey, I'm a zombie now. I'm like, oh, it was them. They did it. They got through. I thought I would have sworn on this podcast up and down that I had the parental control set up for the store. Right. Where at very least it's like at some point I set it up and it's like, do you want to enter your password every time you buy something?
Yeah.
I could have sworn I said yes.
Oh, and now you are.
Apparently
right?
Not.
Maybe your kids just are really good at brute forcing through Nintendo's password protection.
I'd have to half imagine because I got the first password asking for, hey, do you want to change your password?
Right.
So like we're trying something. I couldn't believe it. It was like, of all, like, me of a gaming father podcast fame didn't have his Switch, to my ultimate embarrassment, didn't have his Switch locked down as I should have.
Amateur mistake, Trevor. I don't know what you were thinking. I don't know. But no, like, it's like one of those things where, I don't know. You think after, like, in hindsight, you're like, wait a minute. Like, one, how did they know the password? How did they, maybe it didn't ask? I don't know. But why are they buying games we already have? Are they us?
Of all the games you could have purchased, that was a pretty good indication it wasn't a hacker, though. Because, like, who's going to buy this game? Who's going to go through all that effort to get, like, Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville?
No. I'm glad they stopped at 2.
Oh, thank God. Because what am I doing here, Jeff? Like, do we need to replace me on this show?
Well, and it's just funny how that one in particular, Plants vs. Zombies, does have in-game transactions, does it not? Like, you can get into some money spending, so
that is
at least they stopped.
Feels like this should be a question I know, but does the Nintendo parental control prevent in-game purchases as well?
You know what? I don't know. I know, again, we had an episode on this, and I'm pretty sure we decided that Nintendo was good at this stuff. And maybe maybe it's user error, maybe it's Nintendo error, I don't know. But I don't think it prevents those specific things. I could be wrong. I know PlayStation does, for sure.
I know that there's, like, so as I thought I had set it up, and I can, like, triple check now that this has all happened, but whenever there's an actual credit card, hey, like, this is the credit card or PayPal that's connected to your system. Right. Do you want to use a password every time? And again, like, I would have sworn to you that I had said yes. But I would like to think that that's the case, at least for online purchase, like for microtransactions. So this isn't going to happen again.
Yeah, you might want to double check. I don't know. I am one not to save my credit card information through there. So even if the kids did get in the store, they have no clue unless they are going to go that next stage and go to my wallet and get the credit card out. But yeah, let's not go there. That's a whole other world of trouble.
Yeah, they're just going to take a little piece of paper, take one of the crayons that of adult and kids, and just like rub the number. So, yes, they'll always have it. You'll never know.
Oh
If
my
any kids are
God.
listening, please don't do this.
No, please don't. No.
Oh, and would you like to guess at Nintendo's refund policy?
Oh, I can guess, but let's hear it. I could probably guess that it's next to nothing.
Non-existent. Thanks for the money, chump.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope you enjoy it.
Oh no.
Doesn't matter if it's broken. Doesn't matter if it was bought in error. Like there is no refunds.
Nothing, eh? Not even. I think. Again, I can only speak to PlayStation. I think if you don't play it, you can refund it or get credit, at least credit. But that's if you don't play it at all, like you didn't spend a second in there or something. So
I'm happy to be corrected, but everything that I read online stated that like, and even worse, like my kids definitely played it because I was like deadlocked in a meeting. I couldn't leave. So they got some hours in. So I'd have to think I'm out of luck. But best as I could read, even if that wasn't the case, it was like, no, we do not have refunds. Which
that's
is just
not good.
cool.
That's another nail. You're like, maybe I can get it back. Nope. That's $60 is long gone, along with that other Lego Incredibles.
You know what killed me about it, just killed me, is that they like to play this game together. Right? And it's very, again, like I enjoy this game greatly. We've had, us and the kids, like me and my kids, have had fun with this one, right? But they wanted to play it together.
Okay.
Switch does not have split screen
on
this game. The system is not powerful enough. So the one thing they wanted to do, that we had all of this controversy, all of this lost money
right
on Switch, rebuying it, something that I get for free with Game Pass.
Yep.
They can't even do the damn thing that they want to do. And here I am.
Is this what's the punishment now? Like, kids, you have to read the game descriptions before you spend daddy's money, or is it like now you're finishing this game? You bought it, you have to finish it. You have to stay up all night.
You have to 100% it. That's like, this is like forcing a kid to smoke the entire pack of cigarettes.
That's right.
After you catch him with one.
Platinum this now. Right, do it.
There was a lot of ways to go with it. I think what I ended up going was just firmly explaining to them what had just happened.
Yeah.
I didn't put in a punishment because there's a couple on one side. I should have had it locked down. And secondly, it wasn't malicious in so much as I don't think that they were looking at the screens and thinking to themselves, oh, haha, we're spending dad's money.
Yeah.
That's where it'd be different. If they were like, well, we know this is dad's money, but we'll just do it and hope he doesn't notice.
Right.
That's a problem. This is more like, well, this is the game that I want to play. Let's like click on it. Is this how it downloads? Hey, look, it's downloading now. Hooray! And then they'd run in like, Dad, you won't believe it. We got this game. It's downloading. It's like, so because of that, it was just a very stern conversation.
Right.
Explaining that, like, look, that costs money. You are never to go to like that part of it again. Besides the fact that I have to like lock it down.
Yeah.
But so for those two factors, decided not. I should have had it locked down. They weren't malicious in what they were doing. So, okay. How would you have handled it? Do you think?
I think you did the right thing there. It depends on their ages, right? So my kids now know better, and if they're going through those menu systems and understanding their actions, right? Your kids are younger, they're clicking on things maybe to see if again, having games in your library too, where those purchase buttons change to just download now or whatever. Yeah. Sometimes that can be confusing too, but my kids will definitely know. So they would get a different talking to that. And they have money too. So they bought the game, they pay for the game, right? So I think it would come out of their wallet if they really wanted it. But it's again, amateur mistake, Trevor. I don't know. I mean, I'm just glad that
it's as if I should listen to a podcast for gaming dads so I can get informed about what I should do, right?
That's right. I don't know. At least Nintendo took away on 3DS, when you have a new game, it has a present there. And my kid, when they were younger, used to love opening the presents because then the game icon would pop out of it. So luckily, like, Nintendo took that away, because on the Switch, I could see your kids just be like, oh my God, there's a present on the home screen. Let's get another present. Let's open that one. I love it. It's like my birthday.
Look, I can get anything I want. I just keep showing up. This is amazing.
Why is Dad screaming in the next room? Stop.
Should we let him in? Should we unlock the door? Nah, this is fine.
You just dive to like the router and pull the Ethernet or something.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you're.
And Dad was like, too late. We have all your money.
That's right. We know.
Oh, so
Rough, man. Brutal.
yeah. Hey, any gaming dads, if you've had this happen to you, we'd love to hear the story and feature it. If you have suggestions, recommendations about how you might handle it, both for us and gaming dads who will soon handle it, reach out to us at our website, newdadgaming.com, or on Twitter at newdadgaming. So now, spending money, wasting money,
Well,
hitting the buy button when maybe we shouldn't. It's a topic of debate with a new title coming out, Grand Theft Auto 3 Definitive Edition. So what is this title? Is it just the Grand Theft Auto? Is it all of them? Like what is Grand Theft Auto 3 Definitive Edition?
so it's all the older titles of Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas repackaged, remastered a little bit, I guess. Remastered, not remake, remastered of graphics. Rockstar's putting it out as one complete package if you haven't played the old ones, right? So I remember playing all these to death, so I'm not really interested in rehash of these games. And I know some people are, or they missed out, which is fine, right? That's fine. But when it comes to kids, and specifically mine, that's 11, now preteen. Oh God, just saying the word is just shudders. His friends, some in his class, have been given the okay to get this, and it was like one of those punches to the gut. You're like, okay, we're doing this. What's gonna happen, and how are we gonna approach this? Because these are very, very mature games, and even just with the graphics, it's not like super brutal realism by any means, but the content in there is totally like Vice City is essentially Scarface snorting coke and
Yeah.
going to the red light district. Not to mention, Grand Theft Auto 3 and San Andreas, again, is more about the gang wars and doing awful things to awful people. But again, mature themes. The story definitely needs some mind that has grown up a little bit to process it, because there's a lot of stuff that you can do in these games. And I'm not harping on anybody that would allow their kid to do that. Like, again, if they are in a place that can process this properly, know that it is a game, know that what's right, what's wrong, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't want to fall into my parents of saying, Doom is an awful game and Quake is an awful game. But these at 11 years old, I don't think that's going to happen with my kid. I'm wondering what happens with his friends and has, that peer pressure kind of gets to him. Because he's talked about this before. So it's like, no, you're just not ready for it yet. It's sorry. Like, we can look at that in maybe a couple years again. But I don't know, man. I'm not ready for this. They're growing up.
I'm trying to, besides the great sadness that dwells in with you, with your kids finally growing up.
Yeah.
I just wonder I'm trying to think about when we played Grand Theft Auto 3 for the first time. I was trying to think back on it. Remember, it's PlayStation 2. I'm going to do a quick Google here as we're talking. When was Grand Theft Auto 3 released? I know. I really think I was in high school.
2001.
Man,
Wow.
2001. Really?
That's college.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's kind of surprising. Okay.
Yeah.
I would have sworn, because I can remember playing it, but I guess it was like during summer when I came back from college.
Yeah. So college, man. So my kid's in elementary school, grade 6.
It's a little.
That's not.
It's a
The
benefit
world's
of
different, but it's not
Son,
that
it's the
different.
benefit of going to college. I'll finally let you play this game just like I did
Yeah.
when I reached college.
The second generation of the next remaster will be out then, and you'll get that one. It'll be much better. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You'll get the definitive edition, and I'll have all of them.
Yeah, that is just, it is really, that is too adult, I think, for an 11-year-old. There's just no way around it. The problem you're going to face is that he's going to play it at his friend's house because his friend has been given it. We all had that friend who got, I remember a buddy of mine who got Duke Nukem and had all the mods so that everything worked.
Right.
Like all of the adult situations, like you could play with, so it sounds like your son is going to have one of those friends
Yeah.
So he's going to be playing this game.
Well, and that's kind of where we have always said to him, you know what's appropriate for your age. And it's not us saying, hey, you can't do that just because you can't do that. There's reasons behind it, right? So we've explained to him, you are not going to be able to process this right now. It's just not possible. And trust us, even trust me as a gaming dad. Like, I've been through this. I know growing up with my parents, not really knowing what games were made of, what the content was. They sometimes would look at the rating system, but even that wasn't really in play on a lot of this stuff. So it's about that trust, and we're trusting him not to get him out of those situations that do feel uncomfortable or inappropriate. Again, I don't know. Like, we'll see what happens, but we've talked to him about it, and there's not much we can do after that, right? Like, it's like that loss of control, and that's like not our first taste of that loss of control, but definitely like one of those things where, like, oh God, he could see something in here, come to us with questions, which I would enjoy if at least he admitted it and came to us with questions. That would be a good trust thing. Like, oh, like, I made a mistake. Now I'm really worried, like, what does this mean? How does this work in the world? Blah, 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 right? That would be a better conversation than him just seeing this stuff or playing it and then just being silent about it, right? So, I don't know. This is heavy.
Yeah, I know. I think the real problem with us is that we went through this in that we wanted access to games that were a little bit more mature. I think we probably were exposed to some games that were a little beyond what we probably should have seen. Not so much in that it caused like great emotional harm. I just mean, all things being equal, you put it on paper for a parent, they read it. Oh, there's no way you can play this, child.
Yeah.
But we pushed for it as kids. We eventually got some titles probably a little bit too early.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe people would listen back to our episode history and say otherwise, but generally we turned out fine.
I think so.
Right? So, and so that's just where this gets tricky, because it's sort of, you're becoming everything you hated as a kid, as far as like you're not allowed to play this game because it's too mature for you. It's like, this is the game I want to play.
Right.
But I think this is probably a case where we have to be bad cops, because it's so cut and dry, awful, some of the stuff that goes on in these games, and not like, I'll tell you, like, I played these games, I love these games. When my kids get older, and I hope they do play them, because it can be dumb, great fun, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not some sort of prude that's trying to avoid how great these games can be and all the silliness that goes on, or I never want to expose them to violence, but it's we have control over what age it happens, and it's just certainly too early. Yeah. It feels like, I mean, me, it's easy. Of course, a 6-year-old can't play this game.
Right.
The 11-year-old is like, that is on the cusp, and when is that switch going to happen for him to play it? Yeah,
and just games in general are becoming more and more intense, right? Mm-hmm. So even looking back on some of these, just the trailers of this, it is less impact to me, but I'm coming back knowing how these games kind of transpired. So I can almost see him playing the sandbox world of it. Like that I could probably allow, knowing that there are some crappy things that you do, but the story itself is way, way too mature for what he can process. And I think that's where I go back and be like, hey, this isn't just, it might look like Roblox, but it is not. And it's got a campaign that you have to go through and do some pretty awful things that you are forced to do, right? Like your character, like you have to be that character, right? So you take on that persona, and he's not there yet. So I'm not sure what his friends are going to make of this. And it sounds like this thing's going to go to all platforms too, right? So not only consoles, but like phones. So.
Oh no, is this making its way to phones?
I don't know if the remaster is, but definitely the original ones are on the phones.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I like, that's the same thing. Like, everybody's getting their own phones now in grade 6, right? So my kid has a hand-me-down that doesn't work beyond our house, but other kids, could have the hardware to run this kind of stuff, and then they're out, like, it's that loss of control again, right? And it's having that conversation. Just make sure that what you're doing is appropriate. Right now, he's very in Geometry Dash, so it's not even like figures. It's just triangles hopping over squares. So I love that. That's great.
Which is
Let's go there.
That's such a pure man. That's such a transition. So he's gonna go from geometry,
yeah,
dash into Grand Theft Auto. Like
yeah,
that is
not gonna happen. No.
Yeah, talk about a deflowering. My God, that's
Yeah.
that's horrific. Like
Yeah.
what a change.
And like he's happy in his place. Like he's happy in Geometry Dash and Minecraft, right? Like those are things that he enjoys. So again, it's just peer pressure, and he's gonna run into a lot of that. And we've had that conversation too, right? Peer pressure is, yeah, we've fallen victim to it too. I get it. I have FOMO just even on our Twitter feed and having people like buy new games, and you're like, you know what? Maybe I do want that game.
Yeah.
So
You have to keep us. You have to let us know. I think that's going to be you are in a very interesting spot, and I'm hoping to learn a lot from how this
paving
all
the way
goes.
for you, right? Trailblazer over here.
Yeah. Well, I didn't learn the lessons about locking down my system, so how much am I going to learn with rearing them? But yeah,
two-factor authentication. Yep.
A child turning to a teenager and us becoming the gatekeepers of the games they want. Everything we ever hated growing up. Here we are. Right? We're becoming it, folks. We're becoming it, dads. All right. And I'll say, hey, I'll put it out there. Any gaming dads listening, if you have come across this, if you have good strategies for how you've dealt with this with your own kids, I would love to hear it and share the stories with our gaming dads, because I think I don't want to say we're at a loss, but we're pretty genuinely interested in how this is going to shake out. Like, how do you best handle this?
I would love any information and knowledge from like real situations, right? It's different when you read Google stories about it.
Yeah.
So if somebody's out there and they've already gone through this and, can let us know or let me know, and then I'll let Trevor know. It'll be helpful.
And Trevor will let everybody know.
Yes, that's right.
We could share the knowledge. So same stuff as before. Reach out to us at Twitter at New Dad Gaming or our website newdadgaming.com, which brings us nicely full circle to wrap up the episode for this week. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you like the show, you can find us on all the major podcasting networks. A subscription and a comment and a rating really helps the show. So that's on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, all the major podcasting networks. New Dad Gaming, find us there. If you'd like to reach out to us with any of the requested bits of information from the show, have you had your own horror story with kids purchasing games on your credit card? Do you have advice for a kid becoming a teenager and how you are handling their gaming access? We'd really like to know that information and share it with the community. newdadgaming.com or at newdadgaming. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. My name is Trevor. I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. So young. So much runway to just deal with fun, happy games and them spending my money.
That's right. And I'm Jeff, and I have a preteen, 11-year-old and an 8-year-old. So paving the way for Trevor. But just because you became a dad
doesn't mean it's game over.